Listen, is this currently the best time to be a Naruto YouTuber? No. Obviously, the heydays of being a Naruto YouTuber is when, Naruto was running. God, I am so jealous of people who are either old enough or started young enough to experience those days. But is the current day probably the second best time of all time to be a Naruto YouTuber? Yeah, probably. Currently in the Naruto universe, obviously Naruto still exists, so I can talk about it. But also, there is a ton of very interesting and very cool stuff happening in Boruto. There is a worldwide poll in Naruto Top 99 where the winner gets their own short manga. And Kishimoto and Viz, for some reason, keep throwing 20th anniversary things at us like a year and a half after the 20th anniversary of Naruto. Now, the most recent of these 20th anniversary things we got was an Akatsuki manga promotional video. And while technically this promotional video came out like 10 days ago, so me making this video is a little bit late, that's because it's taken me about 10 days to get my thoughts together on why the hell this video was dropped in the first place. See, for those of you who haven't seen, the Jump Comics channel dropped a minute-long, basically trailer for the Akatsuki. And while technically on the surface level, this promotional video was to advertise that all 72 volumes of Naruto are now for sale, they've always been for sale. The manga has been done for like almost 10 years. It's not like volume 72 just got released. It's been out. And then obviously there's the other argument that this video was dropped to celebrate Naruto's 20th anniversary, which was last year. In fact, it was almost 2 years ago now. So why now, and why the Akatsuki? I've been pondering these questions for almost a week now, and I think I've finally landed on the actual answer. And mind you, while there is things that Kishimoto has released that I haven't predicted, I've also never been wrong in any of my predictions. Mostly because we haven't gotten around to the date where I predicted a lot of these things would happen. But I have been right a couple of times. And honestly, now that I've landed on the conclusion that I have, I'm kind of astounded that it took me this long. Because, well, obviously this promotional video could just be to promote the fact that all of the volumes of Naruto are now for sale. Or it could be to celebrate Naruto's 20th anniversary a year and a half late. But I think the answer that I found is not only more likely, but significantly more interesting. And also very obvious, because the only conclusion that I draw from this promotional video is one thing and one thing alone. The Akatsuki are getting their own manga, and there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of evidence to substantiate this point. But how and of what story and when are we gonna get this manga? Well, we're gonna explore all those questions and a lot more here in a second, guys, but first, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you love the sound of my voice covering breaking news and anime, you're gonna love my other page, The Weeb Commander, where I talk about all anime that aren't Naruto or Boruto. And if you really love the sound of my voice covering all things anime, then you're gonna love my brand new anime podcast that I'm doing with Danny Mata called Otaku's Anonymous, where me and him break down everything that happened in anime this week. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So the Akatsuki, one of the most iconic groups in all of anime, villains or heroes. A relative revolving door of the most evil yet powerful people in the entirety of Naruto's universe. While in the grand scope of Naruto's timeline, they weren't the main bad guys. When it comes to talking about people's favorite bad guys in all of Naruto, it's always a member of the Akatsuki. Whether that be Nagato, or Kisame, or Deidara, or Hidan, or Itachi, it usually always boils down to an Akatsuki member. Genuinely, the only acceptable answer outside of the Akatsuki is Madara, and he was basically the founding principle of the Akatsuki. What, are you gonna look me in the eyes and tell me your favorite bad guy was the Sound Village 4 or Kimimaru? Grow up. And because the Akatsuki were so infamous and so beloved, it's always seemed weird to me that we haven't done more with their characters. I mean, every Naruto fan loves the Akatsuki. Even people outside of Naruto love the Akatsuki. Any spin-off with the Akatsuki would do absolute numbers. But the problem with tackling a spin-off about the Akatsuki is that they're all dead. And a lot of them have already had their stories told. We know the backstories of Deidara, Kisame, Sasori. Basically, every single member of the Akatsuki has had their backstory fleshed out. And a lot of them had very short runs in the Akatsuki, with Deidara only serving for about a year. So where in that year of service would we find a story about Deidara to tell? Well, when we look at all of the 20th anniversary material that's been released, all of it has been hinting at some future project, with the first 20th anniversary thing that we got being the 9-minute remaster of Naruto's most important moments, which was a hint at OG Naruto being brought into 2022 or 2023. That is to say, to seed the idea of Naruto being animated in today's style, that is to seed the idea in all of the Naruto fans around the world that Naruto could be animated in today's animation. And to not only make people feverish for that idea, but also open the door for the possibility of it actually happening. And ironically enough, almost a year after that trailer dropped, we got an announcement that in September of 2023, this year, we'll be receiving 4 new episodes from the OG Naruto days. Now, whether or not that was because of the public perception of the 9-minute trailer, we don't really know. But what we do know is that the 9-minute trailer was a signal to more Naruto from the OG days being animated in today's level of animation. Now, as to what these 4 episodes are going to be about, we don't really know, but I believe that these 4 episodes are also going to be a signal to future Naruto projects. See, 4 is an incredibly weird amount of episodes to release. Why didn't they release 12 or 24 to do their own little mini season of Naruto? Are they gonna release some stupid 4-episode filler arc? Or are these 4 episodes gonna be hinting towards a future project? See, personally, for my own sanity and for the fact that it's more interesting, this is what I believe. Mostly because 4 episodes is oddly specific, but you know what there was 4 of in OG Naruto? Hokage. As the third's death is one of the most iconic moments in OG Naruto, and Tsunade becoming the 5th Hokage is really one of the last canon things to happen in OG Naruto. So I believe it's a possibility that these 4 episodes will focus on the stories of each of these 4 Hokage, with the last story, the story about Minato, being a lead-in to Minato getting either his own anime or own manga. So right off the bat, the 2 20th anniversary promos we've received have been build-ups towards future projects. So genuinely, why should we believe that this one is any different? So here's the thing, we know that light novels are being turned into manga currently, as we speak, with the Steam Ninja Scrolls and Sasuke Retsudan finishing up their current adaptations into manga. And then obviously Sasuke Retsudan was animated into Boruto to act as a pseudo filler to get us closer to the time skip in Boruto. But we're not talking about animation today, no, we're focusing on the mangafication of light novels. And you know how earlier I was talking about how the Akatsuki doesn't seem to have enough spin-off content? Well, it actually does have some spin-off content, specifically the light novel known as Akatsuki Hiden, which accomplishes exactly the goal of what I was speaking about earlier, telling the story of certain Akatsuki member duos during their time as Akatsuki members, with there being 4 chapters that focus on each of the duo teams in the Akatsuki that aren't Zetsu and Obito, meaning that Kisame and Itachi get a chapter, Sasori and Deidara get a chapter, Hidan and Kakuzu get a chapter, and Konan and Nagato kind of get a chapter. It's more focusing on Konan than Nagato, but whatever. And it is arguably either my 2nd or 3rd favorite light novel of all time, as it humanizes a lot of the Akatsuki members. And that's actually the point of the light novel. It actually closes with the line, the Akatsuki also had family. The Akatsuki also had loved ones. They were humans and shinobi. And genuinely, if you enjoy any of the members of the Akatsuki, I would highly recommend Akatsuki Hiden as a read. And while obviously the connection between, ooh, Akatsuki manga panels and, ooh, maybe we'll get an Akatsuki manga isn't the craziest jump of all time, really what solidified that this promo was actually hinting towards Akatsuki Hiden getting its own manga is the ending of the promo. See, the last person to be shown in this promo video is Itachi. And while there's tons of moments they could have used from the manga that would have made Itachi look as badass as all the other members of the Akatsuki they showed in the promo video, more what they focused on was Itachi and Sasuke, with the opening scene of Itachi's part of the promo video being his death right next to Sasuke. And then we close in on Itachi, who seems to relive his life. However, what he's reliving is the moments he's had with Sasuke. And it closes with Itachi giving Sasuke his little forehead boot. Now, while obviously there's other things that are focused on outside of Sasuke and Itachi's relationship, like the massacre, one could argue that the massacre actually plays a massive role in Itachi and Sasuke's relationship. Feels though you wouldn't have to even really argue that one. But ironically, while Akatsuki Hiden does focus on telling stories of Akatsuki members, more than anything, the overarching theme of Akatsuki Hiden is actually Itachi and Sasuke's relationship. See, the epilogue of Akatsuki Hiden actually opens up with Sasuke stumbling upon 2 brothers. And these 2 brothers are trying to practice their shuriken jutsu with paper shuriken. Now, one of the brothers is clearly better than the other, and this clearly better brother is very overprotective of his younger brother. Immediately in these 2 brothers, Sasuke sees himself in Itachi. And when one of the brothers almost falls off a cliff, Sasuke saves him, at which point the 2 brothers believe that he's so powerful he must be Naruto. But Sasuke corrects them and tells them that he is Sasuke. The 2 brothers, upon seeing how powerful Sasuke is, ask him to train with them. And for the next couple of hours, Sasuke trains with these 2 children, teaching them and bettering their shuriken jutsu, much in the same way as he trained with Itachi. However, as the day closes out after they've been training for a couple of hours, it starts to get dark. And the brothers, upon seeing the night sky clouds, say the clouds remind them of the Akatsuki, who they believe killed their family. Now, Now, after the epilogue, there's the 4 chapters that focus on the individual duos from the Akatsuki. We get a really touching story about how close Kisame and Itachi were. We get a really interesting story about Hidan and Kakuzo hunting down people with high bounties, and how Hidan is trying to teach Joshinism to children who are actually interested in it, which has incredible themes of apathy and grief. We then get a really humanizing story of both Deidara and Sasori as they try to find better clay for Deidara to use for his explosives, but get tied into the politics of a dying art city, as we get to see Deidara and Sasori actually come together over their mutual love of the arts. Then we get a really devastatingly sad story about Nagato and Konan, and how Konan wanted to have children but is now infertile. And the epilogue actually ties all of these stories back together to Itachi and Sasuke, as it's revealed through Itachi's story that the Akatsuki actually didn't kill these brothers' family. And in fact, these 2 little brothers have an older brother whose life was spared by Itachi. And this older brother has always wondered for years why Itachi spared him in that circumstance. And that the reason that his 2 little brothers believe that the Akatsuki killed off their family is because the older brother Kiro and his family member Kodaka tried to attack Kisame and Itachi. See, Kodaka was a bee user, specifically a poisonous bee user, while Kiro, the surviving older brother, used water ninjutsu, specifically an ability called Anger Bitter Rain, which allowed him to make water into a black mucousy liquid that, when it got onto your eyes, blinded you. See, Kiro and Kodaka were trying to collect the bounty on Kisame, as it was revealed that their family used to be beekeepers, but the medicinal honey that their bees created could no longer pay the bills, and therefore Kodaka had to raise poisonous bees so they could pick up shinobi freelance work to keep their family fed. However, when Itachi goes to attack Kiro, because Kiro's been injured because Itachi hit him with Tsukiyomi earlier that day, Kodaka throws himself in front of the Great Fireball technique that Itachi is using. And while Kodaka doesn't die from this Great Fireball technique, he is gravely injured. Realizing that he's most likely going to die, he tells his bees to attack one last time. However, he's not going to attack Kisame or Itachi. He actually sends his bees to kill his brother, Kiro. See, Kodaka resents Kiro because Kiro was the person who encouraged Kodaka to make poisonous bees to get into shinobi freelance work. And therefore, since Kodaka was dying, he wanted to vent his aggressions towards Kiro, saying that beekeeping would have been a safe alternative, even though it didn't make that much money, and that he blamed Kiro for his death. And upon sicking his bees on Kiro, he tried to plunge a kunai into his heart, believing he killed Kiro. And after he believed he had killed Kiro, he plunged a kunai into his own heart, killing himself. Now, the loss of their master agitated the bees, and therefore they began to attack everything that was nearby, most notably Kisame and Itachi, which led Kisame and Itachi to fleeing. And while Kisame could only ponder about the peculiarities of love and hate between brothers, this kind of sent Itachi into a spiral. He wondered about where Sasuke's path would lead him as he looked for vengeance, and wondered if Sasuke could find true strength through despair. But more than that, Itachi wondered if he would have the courage to admit his love to Sasuke as he died. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this is because Kiro plays an incredibly important role in the epilogue, as Kiro knows that when Itachi placed him in Tsukiyomi, he very easily could have killed him. However, because Itachi decided to not kill Kiro in that moment, he gets to live with his younger brothers, and they'd returned to medicinal honey making. And the reason that his little brothers believe that the Akatsuki killed Kodaka is because they won't listen to Kiro when he explains to them how Kodaka actually died, and how Kodaka died because of Kiro's lust for fame and wealth. That even though the family was fine making medicinal honey, Kiro pushed Kodaka into becoming a freelance shinobi to live a grander life, and that if Kiro hadn't pushed Kodaka, they could have survived and lived the life they're living now. And it's at this point that Sasuke goes through something very similar to that of what Itachi went through, seeing a reflection of his own relationship with his brother in the brothers he was speaking with, and understanding that love and hatred between family members can manifest in a myriad of different ways. And in this moment, Sasuke gets to understand the true love that Itachi held for those around him. And he understands that Itachi, much like himself, saw their relationship in these brothers, which is why when Sasuke is leaving this family with a jar of medicinal honey in hand, and the little brothers ask,
Sasuke, was your older brother kind like Kiro?
He closes out with an incredibly simple yet impactful word. Yeah, at which point the novel ends by saying, once again, the Akatsuki had family. The Akatsuki had loved ones. They were humans and shinobi. So do I believe that this promotional video a year and a half after the 20th anniversary of Naruto means nothing? Or do I believe it's a 1-minute video shelled out to sell us 72 volumes that we've had access to for as long as they've been completed? No, I don't. The fact that the promotional video focuses on every single member of the Akatsuki while closing out with the relationship between Itachi and Sasuke feels like too much of a parallel between Akatsuki Hiden and this promotional video. The only way it could have been more blatant to me is if they had also opened with Itachi Itachi and Sasuke's relationship. So is this the biggest news of all time? No, not necessarily. I mean, to me it is. I would absolutely love to see Akatsuki Hiden turned into a manga, but a lot of people don't really enjoy light novel content, and a lot of people don't read light novels when they get turned into manga. But I do. The second they come out, and considering the fact that Akatsuki Hiden is one of the most enlightening and humanizing reads you can have for some of your favorite characters in Naruto, when it does become a manga, I'm not saying if, you should absolutely read it. If you have even the smallest amount of love for any Akatsuki member, then this manga is for you. Not to mention that this light novel is actually one of the longer light novels that's ever existed in the Naruto universe. Therefore, if it were to be converted into a manga, it would be a relatively long manga. I mean, like, not like that long, but it would be at least a full volume. And considering the track record we've seen for stories revolving around Sasuke getting animated, there's a possibility that Akatsuki Hiden, if turned into a manga, could get animated. And there are some really touching scenes and some incredible fight scenes throughout this light novel. But what do you guys think? Do you think this promotional video was made to just sell a couple of manga volumes, or do you see something greater on the horizon? Tell me in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Listen, just like if you're running a doomsday cult, set the doomsday 70 or 75 years into the future so you'll be dead before you get to the date and nobody can yell at you for being wrong.